What is up, everybody? Eric here from Soundcast Studios. Today we're taking a look at Louder Than Liftoff's Implode, which is an 1176 FET compressor color module. Full disclosure, I did not actually purchase this unit. DIY recording equipment sent it to me on loan just to be able to make this video, but any opinion is entirely my own. This color module is the smallest 1176 style compressor you can purchase. It's very interesting how they managed to pack so many features into such a small form factor. The attack and release settings are fully adjustable. You can change the ratio from 4:1 to the all buttons in mode. You can even bypass the compression and just use the module to saturate, which is really cool. One quick note with the release trim pot is to be aware that for the fast release, you have to turn it clockwise, but while facing the module from the front. If you do it from the back, you end up making the release slower. I got confused a little bit when I was first messing with the module, so I thought it was worth mentioning. Now let's get to the sound samples. I'll be using a plugin to showcase the settings I was trying to go for on the module, just to help with the presentation. I decided to use the module with vocals and drums since those are my go-to instruments that I tend to use 1176 style compression on. So for the vocals, I used the fastest release and I tried to set the attack time to something like this, where it's like at the 10 o'clock position. So it's not the slowest, but it's definitely not the fastest attack. It's an 1176 style though, so it's still a very fast attack. But this is the general place that I aimed for with the module.
She always makes me wanna cry. Oh, oh, dries the water reach her. She always makes me wanna cry. Oh, oh, dries the water reach her. She always makes me wanna cry. Oh, oh, dries the water reach her. She always makes me wanna cry. Oh, oh, dries the water reach her.
I am so surprised by how good the module sounded. Even with the compression turned up to 75% on the Duo, it still sounded very good. It didn't sound overly compressed. It didn't sound like I had completely ruined the signal. It sounded very musical to my ears, and I really liked it. One thing I do want to point out is look how even this wave file, here I'll even move it up. Look how even this looks compared to the original source. That is just the compression really just evening everything out and doing what compression does. But it's nice to be able to see what it's doing. And as you can see, it's compressing pretty heavily. Everything is so even. You can see I'm just going straight across. Everything is so even, and it still sounded very, very good, which was really surprising. I was a little afraid it would sound overly compressed, but I honestly feel like I could turn it up even higher and I'd still be satisfied with the results. So this module on vocals sounds really, really good. So now let's get to the drums. For drums, I decided to go with the slowest attack on the module and the fastest release. This is kind of how I go about doing drums when I'm trying to add punch. So I was very curious to see how it would handle that. With the transients and such, I want to see how much punch the compressor could add to the signal. I personally think that this sounded really, really good. So at 75%, there's so much room noise. It sounds really punchy to my ears. It still sounds very musical. And so I'm not afraid to really push this module. The lack of a meter actually kind of makes me want to push it further because I really like how it sounds being really compressed. Maybe for a mix, this would like 50% would probably be a more adequate amount of compression, but I mean, nothing's stopping you from going further. It's because it still sounds really good. Lastly, I decided to go with the module. I actually did fastest attack, fastest release, and I did the all buttons in mode on the module. Since there's only 4-to-1 and the all buttons in, this is the way to absolutely crush the drums. I just want to hear how aggressive this module can sound. How much crushing can I do? Could I use this to crush drum mics to really get that room sound? I was just very curious how it would handle that. So now let's take a listen to that. You can see the waveform right here. I think that sounded really, really good. It absolutely destroyed those drums. It completely crushed them. It compressed them so heavily. You can just see this evenness of compression that it did. It still sounded very, very musical to me though. And this is definitely a module that you could use in parallel. Actually, let's do that. So here I have the original unprocessed drums, and I'm just gonna dial in some of that super crushed drum sound just to see how that would sound in a mix. You know, so if I have them both playing together, I'll do it like that much. Let's see how that sounds. I'll actually loop it and I'll punch it in and out so we can hear what it's adding. I'm actually impressed how good that sounded. It just added this energy to the drums without taking away any of the initial attack. Since the crushed version has a fast attack and fast release, none of that transient's getting through. You're really just bringing up room noise and such, and it's adding a ton of energy. It's really, really cool. And so using this module in parallel can yield some very, very interesting results. And so I highly recommend it for doing it like that. I also think it works really well on individual tracks. It worked really well on the vocals, and I have no doubt that it would work well on just about any instrument. Overall, I think that this module sounds really good and is definitely worth the price. For like $130 at the making of this video, you get an 1176 style compressor that you can mess around with. The one thing that I could see people not liking about it is the lack of a meter. I can see some people being afraid of overcompressing things. So I'm not sure if I'd recommend it if you want to track with it. If I was tracking with it, I probably wouldn't turn it up anywhere past 25% just because I'd be afraid of overcompressing. But while mixing, the lack of a meter might actually push you to make better creative decisions since you're not afraid of overcompressing. You'd compress to the point until you think it sounds good, and regardless of how much compression is actually happening. So I definitely think it could be a good learning tool to try out, not being afraid of overcompressing since you don't know that you're overcompressing unless you begin to hear it, if that makes sense. I definitely think this is a cost-effective way to get into analog compression, and I highly recommend this unit if you are already in the color ecosystem. So that is going to be the end of this video. In the comment section below, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you thought I could have done better. And I'll see you all in the next video.